Hey everybody, how you doing? What a difference a weekend makes. Welcome to PHLY Flyers postgame presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. Joining me live in the Xfinity Mobile studio, it is Mr. Flyperbole, Steve Jaco. Steve, what a difference a weekend makes. On Friday, I couldn't have felt better about at least the potential of this team, the effort we saw, the resilience to kind of withstand, get out ahead of Colorado, withstand the comeback, and then take it to them, the best third period team, the best home team in the NHL. And then tonight, the opposite. An okay enough first 10 minutes, first power play, especially the Michkov unit looks really good. And then for 50 minutes, it just looks like they didn't really try all that much. That's really what we saw tonight, is it not?
Bill, I'm going to have to talk real slow about this game because I don't know what to say. The most entertaining part of my evening was when I accidentally kicked a bunch of my dog's food down the stairs and I turned around and I went, uh-oh. And then, like this hockey game was trash.
It
It
was
was
bad.
terrible. I'm angry on behalf of everybody who trudged down to the Xbox in the ice and the snow. Just it sucks out there. It's terrible. And saw that just horrendous hockey game. They deserve better. We all deserve better. This just stunk. It was a horrible game to watch. And those previous games, the Flyers eke out, right? You get these 4-3 shootout games, right? They go to overtime. They're competitive games. And you think the Flyers want to come back and put on a show for the home crowd in a tight division game, in a tight playoff game, and they give you this.
There's even ways they could have lost by the same score tonight. If they put up 35 shots and Sorokin, it's just like, nope. Because I always remember, like, halfway through the first period, I could see Brodeur, and I'd just be like, yep, not tonight. Just not
Nope.
happening.
No.
Hasek, same way. Like, all right, Sorokin's one of the best goalies in the NHL. If he just has a monumental night, so be it. You give up a few, maybe like 3 and 4 of the empty netters or something. You can live with that. But they just didn't have it tonight. Like, they got shut out, and yeah, I guess Sorokin was pretty good, but you got 21 shots on goal, and what, two of them were dangerous? I don't know. It was just some nights in the NHL in an 82 game season, your first game back, we hear all the time, first game back from a road trip can be difficult. Dealing with the weather, they're in altitude, all this stuff. Sure, it happens, but it can't keep happening in these spots. Like, this is just so frustrating. And you and I are not idiots. We know that this team, like, yeah, I mean, well, yeah. But when it comes to this team, we both recognize, yeah, man, they're not winning the Stanley Cup this year. It'd be a miracle if they make the playoffs, and if they win a round, it's like, wow, what a success. Like, that's where this team is. And maybe if I wanted to try to find not even the positivity, but a note other than what a boring game, I hated it, because that's like how I feel. Um, like, I guess I would say maybe this is an argument for why they're doing the rebuild or whatever you want to call it the way they are. Because young teams are inconsistent, and teams turning the corner have to figure out how to win. And it's very obvious whether you look at the blown leads they've had, Toronto, Utah, those sorts of games, or efforts like tonight where it's, dog, you just had a great road trip. 5 out of 6 points. Beat the two division leaders out west. Took it to Colorado, who doesn't lose at home, certainly doesn't lose at home in regulation. And you follow it up with this. You follow it up with one of the not even worst games of the season, most freaking boring games of the season.
Yeah.
I fully understand 82 game season, you can't have it every night. Have it tonight. That Kings game on Saturday, that's the one you can take off, man. Like, the Islanders, the Columbus game, even the Bruins, the Caps next week, like, these are big games. 3 of these next now 5 games are against division opponents, or 2 of the now 5 remaining are against division opponents. 4 of them are against Eastern Conference opponents. You can't just not have it on a night like tonight. And sure, there's excuses, man. Like I said, first game back from the road trip, weather, building, it sounds like wasn't all that full. Okay, but you're not good enough. You haven't built up enough goodwill for me to be like, yeah, they didn't have it tonight. It happens, but it should not have happened tonight. It's an unacceptable effort.
If they lose 4-2, if they lose 4-3, I'm much more forgiving of this. To get shut out, to just have such a flat effort, and just everything, it was just such a slap in the face across the board because everything went wrong that could have gone wrong. You get shut out. You lose to a team that's ahead of you in the divisional standings, in the wild card standings. That's a big loss there. And a guy who is from the area and used to play for your team scores against you, talks trash in your bench's
No
face,
pushback.
and you don't do anything about it. Like, I want to see them jump that dude at that point. Like, I just want to see something. And there's no spark. There's no nothing. It just was so boring and bad. And listen, I'm not here to throw Ersson as the only guy under the bus because he did, he was good last week and he's had to make a lot of starts that he's not supposed to because Vladar is the starter. But this is one of those nights that you can point to where
that's a good point.
You can say, Sam, like, I know that none of these were necessarily the fluffiest goals, right? None of these were necessarily like the worst goals I've ever seen. None of them are John Van Beesbrook looking up at the Jumbotron as the puck lands behind his back, or Steve Mason doing that center ice goal as well. None of those are like Poor center ice goals. But they're the kind of goals that if he stops, if he actually steps up and stops, people aren't having this narrative about him. He isn't the worst goaltender in the league. He just has to make a few of these. Like, there's a couple goals that I wish he would make those stops. And just through the wickets, man, he's got to shore some stuff up. And this was the Sam Ersson tonight that drives us nuts. He's definitely not better than the numbers. The team wasn't good tonight, so it's certainly not all on him, but he didn't help.
No, he didn't. But on a night like tonight, like I said, they're an inconsistent team. They're trying to find their identity, but none of that has anything to do with effort. And I don't like calling out effort because, listen, there are times a team tries but just can't get it going. Like, some night it just feels like your skates aren't, they're on the wrong feet, your stick's the wrong hand. Like, it's just not working for you. But that wasn't what was happening tonight. On the shorthanded goal, where are the back checkers? Like, where there's Trevor Zegras and there's another forward, like Brink and Drysdale. I guess they misread what Ersson's going to do with the puck, and that kind of sets the whole thing up because the back checker. But like, nobody even took a stride to Pageau in the slot. He's just there, and it's like, that sucks. Hope he makes the save. Oh, he didn't. All right, back to the bench. Like, Drysdale's got that puck, takes it out of the corner, clear lane to the net, forward defending the front, and he just stops at the post and tries to, try to get a greasy goal, man. Take it to the freaking net. Get 2 or 3 whacks at it. Start a scrum, whatever. The shift before the DeAngelo goal, and we'll talk about Emil Andrae later, because okay, sure, yeah, I guess he's an NHL player. But the shift before the DeAngelo goal, Coots could have started a 3-on-2 shorthanded, but he just tries to dump it instead and puts it on Schaefer's stick, essentially just hands them possession. Why? It's 2-0. Try to get one back. You've been really good shorthanded lately, at least scoring goals. Like, try to get something going. Try to build some momentum. Try to get the crowd into it. No, and they just didn't. There was just no pushback at all tonight, and that's really the most frustrating thing. Yeah. And I think Charlie summed it up pretty well. He had a tweet around 8:30 tonight. He'll be joining us a little later in the Xfinity Mobile call-in line. He says, I wouldn't say this game is a must-win or anything, but it's absolutely a game where if they lose, especially uncompetitively like they are now, It makes it harder to have faith that they'll play well enough when the games truly are must win to make the playoffs. And that's how I'm feeling right now. I really,
Yes.
really like what I see out of this team a lot of nights, but there are way too many. Honestly, this might be one of the worst, like, overall efforts I've seen this season. They've played some really bad games, but this one, it's like, where were you, man? Did you just want a snow day? You were hoping the game was canceled?
I mean, I'm there with them. And
Yeah,
that's why
me
I have a
too.
lot of trouble also calling out effort because, like, if you saw the effort I did in shoveling snow earlier, I certainly would, I'd be very hypocritical to call out anybody else on lack of effort. But you got to call them like you sees them, right? And there wasn't much tonight. And yeah, I think that's the true bummer of this all. And it's amazing if you watch our post games we've done over the past week, you have seen the post games and the pre games. You're seeing quite the tapestry of the Flyers right there because our ups and downs have been wild to watch because we had that Rangers game. We cooked the team after that Rangers game. Rangers game, we're done. We're off the wagon completely. They win the Vegas game. Glimmer of hope. Okay, that was an impressive win. Cool. Then they win the Colorado game. We're back on board, baby. Let's go. You watch the pregame tonight. We're hopeful. We're like, hey, maybe they can get a win tonight. They look good. And now I'm like, I have no faith in this team to make the playoffs. I think it's probably better if they don't at this point. And believe me, I want to make the playoffs. I want to talk about the dang playoffs on this program
Yeah,
because I love talking playoffs
that would be fun.
on the podcast.
Playoff hockey is objectively good.
And I've been doing this over a decade. I probably have not talked a lot of playoff series at this point. It's wild to think about, especially when you think about when we were kids and the Flyers made the playoffs every dang
It was
year.
just a given.
It was a
Like,
given.
not making the playoffs in, what was it, 06, 07 was like, huh, really?
Oh, is this what this feels like? I don't like this at all.
Odd.
Yeah. And then they made it a bunch after that. And then they got into this every other year pattern.
And now it's never.
Now it's never. And it sucks. And yeah, like, would it be better for the team to have a better draft pick? Of course. I'm tired of talking about better draft. I'm tired of knowing anything about prospects, my guy. Like, I went a lot of my life not doing any research on prospects and not caring because crazy Paul Holmgren was going to trade away the first round pick anyway. Bobby Clark traded away 5 years ago in a deal that I don't even remember, but it didn't matter because they're getting the big fish and they just can't compete in the current NHL like that. And like, I have to know these prospects. I don't have the time. I'm not watching juniors games. I don't have time for that. Come on. Who has time for that? I know a lot of great people over at Broad Street Hockey who have time for that. It ain't me. And I don't want to. I'm tired of it. I want to go to the playoffs. I want to talk about the playoffs. So yeah, is it better if they don't make the playoffs? Of course it is. I'm tired of it.
All right, coming up on the other side, we're going to talk about tonight's game changer. We're going to talk about a young defenseman that I'm pretty fed up with. Talk about a few other things before Charlie joins us as well, but we got to take our first break. All right, it's time for me to tell you about Xfinity and the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. What if I could offer you reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? Well, that's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together and that fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Imagine Wi-Fi that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's online and has all your devices working in perfect harmony. And imagine all that for 5 whole years. And the best part, there's no annual contract, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, but your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply. All right, it's time to talk about Elkin Chevrolet. Elkin Chevrolet is run by 3 brothers, real brothers, local local guys, and yeah, big Flyers fans. And if you've been watching this season, you know what kind of hockey it's been. Nothing's easy, working hard for every inch of the ice, and that's how these guys run their dealership too, with hard work. And right now, Elkin Chevrolet has a big inventory of new Chevy trucks and SUVs, the stuff people around here actually drive, and they're priced to move. No games, no runaround. You come in, you get a straight answer, and you get a great price. Whether you're heading to the game, heading to work, or just trying to get home after a long day, they'll get you into the right ride at the right price. And this isn't a one and done place. These are the guys you go back to because they treat you right. Elkin Chevrolet, real brothers, real deals, and a whole lot of honkin' good service. Located on Route 73 South in Marlton, Elkin Chevrolet. Together, let's drive and let's go Flyers. All right, welcome back. It is time for tonight's Game Changer, driven by Elkin Chevrolet. Elkin Chevy, together, let's drive. Tonight's Elkin Chevy Game Changer is the special teams. Not only did they give up a power play goal, they were 0 for 3 on the power play themselves and gave up a shorty, which was, of course, the game winner because the Flyers did not score. And it was really, it felt like things were going well up until that point. And then they give up the shorthanded goal and they were just like, yeah, man, that's all we had. But I do want to, now the special teams have been a problem all season. This isn't new. The power play every now and then is a good game. The penalty kill has been basically terrible since mid-November. It's not good. The special teams are one of the biggest holes on this team. But I do have a particular bone to pick with head coach Rick Tocchet. Now, the way this game went, maybe it wouldn't have mattered. Maybe Sorokin makes all the saves. Maybe they get the shorthanded goal anyway. I don't know. But on the first power play of the game, the Michkov unit was really good. They don't get a goal, of course, but, you know, the bar by which we judge this power play is like, did you look like a bunch of NHL players? And they certainly did. They get another power play because everyone just felt like holding each other in the first period. The first period saw, I got to bring up this summary because it was very, very funny. 3 penalties. Siplikov, Cates, and Gatcombe all called for holding. Listen, it's cold outside. I understand. Everyone wants to hold each other.
Got to get that body heat, Bill.
But they get that second power play in the first period. The Michkov unit had looked really good, and they started with the other unit. They started with the Zegras unit, and they give up a shorthanded goal almost immediately. It's a high flip. Instead of just like catching it or something, Ayerson gets in front of it, blocks it, and then just gets into the net, and it sits there. Who was it? I think it's Cizikas is the first one to the puck with Brink and Drysdale in pursuit. He throws it over into the middle for Pajot, who's completely unchecked because Zegras and another forward were just kind of like hanging at the blue line, not really back checking. And he scores very easily. And the game could have ended right there, and I would have been happy, honestly. After watching the entire thing, if they had just called it, if the Flyers had been like the Soviets in '76 when they just left the Spectrum ice, but instead of coming back, they didn't, I would have been completely fine with it.
Wouldn't that be glorious if instead of just wasting our time, they could have just done a Larry David, like, F you and I'll see you tomorrow, and left? That would have been great. And instead, we had to watch that slop. We had to see TDA score on this team. It's just like all of it just made me so mad to watch. It was so bad. But yeah, special teams a big problem yet again for this team tonight. Shorthanded goal early was a backbreaker. It shouldn't have been, especially considering that this team has had to be resilient so often. This team has had to come back, I think, an unbelievable amount of times. I don't know the number offhand, but it's a ridiculous amount. This team just is always coming back. And normally it's actually better for them that they don't score first. But tonight, that was it. That was it. That was the whole game. And yeah, letting up that shorthanded goal yet again, over 3 power play performance really stunk. Not trusting Michkov enough. Like, you know, he did give him some more minutes tonight. Matvei got 16-10. So that's an improvement. Managed to get 4 shots on goal. So he's been on a roll with the shots, which is really good. I'm seeing some encouraging things out of Michkov, which is good. Tippett also continues to have a lot of shots tonight. That's pretty much all I can report positively. I'm trying to find any silver lining I can, because we got to talk about this for another, 40 minutes. But hey, there's almost something to work with. But yeah, it was a real stinker tonight. I'm going to be even angrier if they don't come out in Columbus swinging, because this is, as you said before, this is an unacceptable effort from this team.
Absolutely. And how that is the tonight's game changer was the terrible special teams. It changed the game, certainly. The shorthanded goal, giving up the goal to Tony DeAngelo in the power play, all of it. And now joining us to try to break this one down, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor, live on the Xfinity mobile call-in line. Thoughts on this one, Chuck?
William, the real tragedy here is that you shaved your head for this. Truly tragic and heartbreaking that you put your luscious locks on the line, and the team shows up first game since the shaving, and goes out there and has a total dud. Very, very disappointing all around. Look, I think where I come out of this game is that sometimes you just don't got it, and that happens over the course of an 82-game season. That does happen. However, when a week and a half ago you were in the midst of a 6-game losing streak, you forfeited the right for, well, we just didn't have it that night, to be an excuse for like at least another month and a half. If you hadn't lost 6 straight games, fine. Maybe you can be like, yeah, sometimes the boys just don't got it. The energy's not there, the execution, but they put themselves behind the proverbial 8 ball by losing 6 straight games. And now, you have to be winning most of your games to make up for the fact that for 2 weeks, you just barely played quality NHL hockey. And tonight, they barely play quality NHL hockey. I think Rick Tocchet after the game, I 100% agree with him, by the way. He basically said, like, I don't even think the Islanders played that well. We just didn't play well. Like we didn't have energy. We didn't play. And I agree. Like, I didn't watch this game and think, like, man, the Islanders are really taking it to the Flyers. Like, this was just a bad hockey game, and the Flyers out bad at the Islanders.
Yeah, no, this game just flat out sucked, and that's part of the. Like I said, there are ways they could have even lost by this score where I may have accepted it, but they can't not have it in these spots. Like, man, just you got to find it. You got to find a way. At least make it competitive. Get a point. Like, do something to try to salvage this thing. Very, very disappointing, Charlie, because we were just talking about it right before you came on. The decision, and maybe it wouldn't have mattered, but it does kind of feel like the Flyers weren't playing terribly leading up to the shorthanded goal. And I do have to question the decision a little bit after the Michkov unit looked so good on the previous power play to go with the other unit, who then put in zero effort to try to like stop that shorthanded goal whatsoever. Just an easy little flip, and all of a sudden it's 1-0. What'd you think of that decision?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously from an outcome standpoint, it was terrible. But I think from a process standpoint, I totally disagree with that. I was excited when they got that second power play. I think I tweeted out like, oh, it's a great time to see what they can do, what that unit can do, building off of how good of a stretch they had on the previous power play. And then they come and look, I get it. Like, I get that the other unit didn't get any time that first power play because the Barkey, Michkov, Cates, Tippett unit basically had it the entire time. And maybe you want to get, like, got Konechny, you got Zegras, you got talented guys out there. Like, I guess I understand it in theory, but I don't know, man. Like, that unit, the Michkov, Barkey, Tippett unit, it did everything except score. It looked awesome. And to me, you'll want to just ride that, and hopefully they can turn all of that good feels, but also we just didn't break through, into actually breaking through. They went a different way. I mean, it ultimately is on Tocchet. He's the head coach. My guess is, though, this is a decision that's probably made by Yogi and or Jay Verady. But look, Tocchet's the guy who hired those guys. So in the end, he's the guy where the buck stops. But I'm 100% with you, Bill. Like, I thought that was crazy. It's easy to look back and be like, well, they shouldn't have used that line or whatever. But that was a move that I thought was bad in the moment.
Yeah.
and then they give up the shorthanded goal, and then it goes from being like, oh, I don't know about that one, to, oh man, what the heck were you thinking? Putting the other unit out there, given how bad they looked on that sequence where the Isles scored the shorthanded goal.
Yeah, and listen, like, I almost was like, oh yeah, they didn't get any time on the first power. Okay, and then I thought, well, wait, why? Because the other one played well, and like, it's not as if it's just one. It's not as if we have a dominant first unit and the other unit just got out there and happened to have a good shift. Both suck. Go with the one that showed you a little something once. Like, I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of reasons they lost this game, but it does kind of feel like they give up the shorthanded goal and then the game just kind of ended. Like, the Flyers were okay for the first 10 minutes of this game, and then it was over. Couple little things I want to talk to you about. I don't even know. Like, there was just no urgency or anything tonight. Like, did anyone give a reason why they were just like, yeah, no one back checked on the shorty. Drysdale could have taken the puck to the net, decided to stop. Like, I don't know. Coots could have started a 3-on-2 shorthanded and just dumped it and flubbed it, and now it's on Schaefer's stick. Like, did anyone give a reason why? Are they tired?
It's such a tough game because in the standings, you're right behind the Islanders, and this is a huge loss, I think, at this point.
Yeah, and as I said on social media, I basically said, look, like, I don't think this was a must win. I don't think now they lost this game, they're definitely not going to make the playoffs. But this was an important game, and the fact that not only do you lose it this way. You lose it in totally uncompetitive fashion. You come away from this game thinking like, well, if they did this tonight, like, how are they going to play in late March when they have to get a win against a team like the Islanders? I don't know. This game doesn't give you a lot of confidence that when they do really have to win a game or else they're out, that they're going to do any better than they did tonight. And that's the bummer of it. But to answer your question, Bill, about were there any explanations, no one could really pinpoint any one thing. I mean, I asked whether there was, some truth to the idea of like a letdown game. They got so high for the Colorado game that, they started feeling too good. And some of the guys didn't dismiss that of just like, maybe we thought this was going to be easy, and it clearly wasn't, because the Isles are like, look, the Islanders are not a great team, but the Islanders, and this was the one thing that everybody was saying in the locker room after the game, Talk had said it as well, like, they're a very structured team. They play a 1-1-3. It's basically like, functionally like we're going to force you to dump the puck in, and then you got to put the effort in to win the battle. Like, you're not going to be able to navigate through the neutral zone because we're going to sit back and make you go through a bunch of guys in a row. And the Flyers knew that. I interviewed Rick Taka this morning, and he brought it up unprompted. He brought up like, yeah, we're playing against a team with a 1-1-3, so we got to be smart. We got to dump it in if there's no other option, and then we got to win those battles. So they knew it was coming. It was just that when it got down to it, they weren't able or willing or whatever to put in the work that you need to put in to beat a team that plays with the structure that the Islanders do. Look, power play is a big part of it. They don't score on the power play. They give up a shorthanded goal. That's true. But they could have played a lot better at 5-on-5 too, and there was just no juice at 5-on-5.
No. Speaking of special teams, Charlie, so I guess like Owen Tippett gets a little shorthanded rush, tries to beat the defender rather than just ripping the shot. I guess he could have ripped the shot, but still he has possession of the puck, gets it over to Emil Andrae. What the hell caused Andrae to fumble that puck? Because was there an invisible man or something who defended him that maybe I can't see with my naked eye? Perhaps in the building it was a little easier to see, Charlie. What? How do you feel about Emil Andrae right now? I know I asked you this a few games ago, and you said these are the ups and downs of a young guy, but man, he's really starting to wear thin for me.
He's been struggling. Not every game, but I would say a lot of games recently he's been making mistakes. Look, I'm not on the ice with these guys, so I don't know if maybe that pass, had too much juice on it, but you still expect a guy like Andrae, whose entire calling card is play with the puck. Like, that's why he's an NHL player, is that he's good with the puck. You expect him to, at the very least, be able to handle that pass and not just send it out into the worst possible spot for them to create a transition rush. He didn't. Andrae needs to play better. I know I told you this a few weeks ago that this is what happens when you're developing defensemen. I remember Cam York had stretches where he looked awful. Jamie Drysdale, for God's sakes, like, he looked awful for long periods of time. defensemen, especially when they're young, especially when they're developing, like they're gonna go through downs, and it looks like we're seeing Andrae go through a down. The problem is that he's an every night defenseman on this team, so when he goes through downs, it really hurts. I guess you could bench him, I guess, but like I don't know, you're bringing Noah Juleson in. Maybe he'll make fewer obvious mistakes than Andrae, but is he actually giving the team a better chance to win, even if Andrae isn't playing that well? Like, I'm not convinced. So I think all you really can do is just kind of ride with him and hope that he picks up his game. But I agree with you. He hasn't been playing well.
Any silver linings at all, Charlie? We're feeling horrible. Is there anything to pick the people up right now?
I don't really think so. Like this was just a bad game. Like
Terrible game.
I guess the only silver lining is that, they play again in 48 hours. And, as we've seen, like, go think about how angry people were on Wednesday versus how happy people were on Friday. Like, I guess that's the only silver lining, is that things change real quick in the NHL, but I'm not going to try to blow smoke and act like there was anything good about this game. It was a terrible game. They didn't play with energy. They got blown out. They had an opportunity to move back into a tie for a playoff spot, and instead they just fell flat on their face. And I think the word, Steve, I'm not sure if it was you or Bill, but the word that was used was unacceptable. And like, yeah, it's an unacceptable loss. This was an embarrassing game.
Charlie, so I want you to I'm gonna try to get you to explain this to me in terms that maybe are familiar to you. Say Friday night's game in Colorado was a band's debut album. Just best thing you ever heard. And tonight was their follow-up. What band is that? Can you think of oh wow, that was horrible.
God, like a total flop second record. Oh man, it's hard for me to think of a band that like really, there's plenty of bands I like that had, a really good debut and then just a decent second record. I don't know if I can think of a band that had a really good debut and was just had a horrendous second record. That's a tough one. I'm sure one exists, and if anybody has any good ideas, feel free to drop them in the chat. But yeah, I'm thinking like, even just thinking like 2000s indie, like like the Strokes' second record wasn't as good as their first record, but like it wasn't horrific. It still had Reptilia. That's still a damn good song.
It didn't go from 7 goals against the Avalanche to 0 against the Islanders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What a roller coaster. I want to get off.
I know. Charlie, can you tell me something interesting about Salt Lake City?
I would say that there's an Italian restaurant that I've went to that was very good, and there are a couple neat cocktail bars that I've been able to find. And it's cool that like you look in any direction and you see mountains in the background. That's kind of neat.
Oh, that kind of sounds like a cage, but all right. Let's get to it, because good freaking luck with this, Charlie. Let's get to Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. Chuck, who the hell could possibly be star number 3?
I gotta say, Bill, this probably was the most difficult 3-star selection of the season. 3rd star, I'm gonna go with Noah Cates. I remember a few games ago, I made this case for Dvorak, where Dvorak was involved in a lot of chances, didn't finish, and he needs to finish, but at least he was creating. At least there was something there. At least he was engaged. At least Cates was engaged. He created a lot of chances. He missed the net on a bunch, way more than he should. But he was engaged. He had a big hit in the neutral zone. I think it was in the second period. So he was trying to bring some energy. There was at least something there with Noah Cates, even if you look back on it and you say, yeah, maybe if you finish one of those chances on that first power play, the game doesn't play the way it goes. But most of the guys on the team weren't even doing that. So I'm going to give Cates 3rd star on the basis that, like, at least he was doing stuff.
You know what? Honestly, the shift on which he drew that penalty in the first period, that's like the only shift of the game I remember thinking was any good. So I'll absolutely allow it. Who was star number 2?
Yeah, star number 2, I'm actually going to go with Michkov. I thought he was skating well in this game.
Yeah.
I think it probably was more about Tockett's negative view of Zegras' game as opposed to him being like, man, Michkov's been awesome.
Yeah.
But Michkov does get moved up to the Dvorak connecting line. Zegras just gets dropped down. And I can't imagine that would have been done if he actively disliked Michkov's game. And we know, that Tocchet isn't exactly Matvei Michkov's like biggest fan at the moment. So for him to jump him up with Konechny Dvorak speaks to the fact that he was moving well. He had a nice zone entry. I think it was in the second period where he kind of moved through a bunch of guys. He looks like he's playing with a bit more confidence with the puck. He took a couple nice shots. So I'm not going to say Michkov had a great game, because I don't think anybody had a great game. But like Kate's, he looked like he was playing with some energy and he was doing some stuff. So I'm going to give it to Michkov second star.
4 shots and got over 16 minutes.
There you go.
Hey. Yeah, they needed a goal for 60 minutes, so it makes sense. All right, who was tonight's first star?
First star of this game was the Xfinity Mobile Arena, like, outdoor cleanup crew, because I got to tell you, we got dumped with a lot of snow this weekend, and that parking lot, they did a great job. It was all cleared out. The mountains, because you've been there when they build up the mountains of snow because they have to dump it somewhere. They were enormous. They did a great job. Yeah. And, it's surprisingly, and Jamie Drysdale actually mentioned this after the game. He was like, there were more people in the stands than there maybe should have been, given how hard it was for people to get here. And it's on us for not giving them a better show. One of the reasons why it wasn't a total, S show getting into the game is because they did a good job moving out all the snow. I'm sure a lot of people put in a lot of extra time. And let me put it this way. The people that cleaned up that parking lot over the previous 24 hours, they put in a much better day's work than the Philadelphia Flyers on the ice today. So I'm giving them first star.
Absolutely no question about that. How was attendance tonight, Chuck? I couldn't really tell on TV.
I mean, it wasn't full, which you would expect, but I would say, because one of my friends actually texted me and asked because what they've done in the past, especially like when it's in the middle of a storm, is they'll pretty much tell everybody in the upper level that, hey, come down to the lower level, just find a seat. It's basically general admission functionally. And she asked me if they did that tonight. I was like, honestly, I don't think they could, because there were too many people. I think, it was maybe 2/3 to 3/4 full, but given how difficult it was for people to, get out of their houses, get out of their parking spots, I give the fans a lot of credit. They showed up in this game and they got let down by the team. Simple as that.
Well, at least someone did. All right, that is Charlie O'Connor on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line. Charlie, we are off tomorrow, but we will speak after Wednesday's game.
All right, sounds good. And I will have a post-practice notes video for tomorrow for our great listeners and viewers.
Oh, hell yeah. Little extra content, little practice notes from Charlie O'Connor. All right. On the other side, we're going to talk a little more about Emil Andrae, a little bit more about Matvei Michkov, maybe some other stuff as well. I don't know. This was just a bummer, but we got to take our second break. Let me tell you how my morning starts each and every day. It starts at my Wawa. Now, this is an ad read, but everybody watching by now has to know how much I love Wawa, and Wawa has given us yet another reason to love them. It's the $5 Big Breakfast Deal. For just $5, you can get any sizzly breakfast sandwich, any size hot or iced coffee, and a hash brown every morning from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's right, a breakfast sizzly, a coffee, and a hash brown for just $5 from your local Wawa. That's value, that's convenience, and that's deliciousness all together in one deal. And while you're picking up your coffee, check out the brand new Caramel Chocolate Craze coffee flavors. You can try caramel, try chocolate, or mix them together for a sweet treat that will start your morning off right. The $5 Big Breakfast Deals for a limited time and exclusions apply. See Wawa.com for details. No need to overthink breakfast. Just grab and go and get on with your day. You gotta have a Wawa, and let's go Flyers. All right, I gotta tell you about my wife and I. We are saving up to go to Italy this April for a friend's big wedding. This is going to be a major expense, and to help us save, we're using Monarch. Managing your money doesn't have to be a struggle this year. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It's the go-to tool for a New Year's financial reset, reviewing spending over the holidays, setting fresh budgets, and getting ready for 2026. With automated weekly money recaps and tracking progress towards future financial goals, it's easier than ever to stay financially fit in the short and long term. And it's helped users save over $200 per month on average after joining. So this new year, achieve your financial goals for good. Monarch is the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code PHLY at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's right, 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code PHLY. And do not forget, let's go Flyers! All right, it's time for tonight's Unsung Hero presented by Togo. Togo, the leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You call the plays, we execute. Togo. It continues, Steve. I continue to be impressed by Owen Tippett, and I wanted to give him something tonight. The game changer, obviously, it just had to be something bad because like the game changed on something bad. But I did like. I was a little surprised that Charlie didn't have Owen Tippett as one of his stars of the game. Tippett co-lead with 4 shots alongside Matvei Michkov, and also laid 5 hits in the game to lead the team. He's been really good lately. I don't think there's any other way to say. Again, like little things, yeah, maybe he needs to rip that puck on net on that shorthanded chance rather than try to dance around DeAngelo, and ultimately like his pass back to Andrae is what gets fumbled that leads to the power play goal, make it 3-0. But there's always things you can nitpick. Nobody was like actually good tonight. But I was once again looking at Owen Tippett, like he's the only guy with any jump. He's the only guy, maybe Michkov, with any juice in his legs, especially after the first like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and he was the one guy who came close to scoring a goal tonight. Like
Yeah.
he came very close. He had a good, I mean, for the guys in this game, he had the best game of pretty much all of them. Ends up with second most time on ice for forwards with 1736. I feel like we've been seeing him more out there. Again, as Charlie's pointed out in the past, more consistency this year,
Yeah.
more jump. I love that not only was he co-leading the team in shots, but also leading the team in hits. And that's great to see. That's somebody who's utilizing his size and speed in a way that he hasn't in the past, which is really cool to see. So yeah, I think he's one of the only couple of guys who deserve any amount of not even praise, but like a gentle pat on the head. Like, all right, you weren't the worst person.
I got to get my Emil Andrae criticism out of the way with Charlie. I don't think we need to harp on it. I just think he's been really, really bad lately.
Maybe a night off would be
It's
good.
gone poorly. Maybe he needs I don't know. He's got like 1 point in his last 15 games or something, and it's not all about points, especially for a defenseman, but like you are supposed to be a puck mover. He's had some really bad turnovers. Tonight was another one. I don't need to harp on it, but he was bad. Someone who I have come never to expect to be bad, who I do think deserves a little criticism tonight, is number 46, Trevor Zegras, Steve. So he's got 9 points in 15 games since the Christmas break, which is not terrible. It's not point per game, but it's decent. It's fine. It's more than acceptable.
Okay.
Especially in a small 15-game sample size. If you're really good and then you're just okay, like it's going to go back and forth. But in 10 of these 15 games, he has 0 points. He just hasn't had the same nightly impact since the Christmas break that he did in the first half or so of the season.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's hard to criticize just given like how impactful he was.
And he was the only offense for the most of the first half of the season.
Yeah, but you're also seeing the effect on the team where you look at the team's struggles over the past week or past few weeks, Colorado notwithstanding, and it hasn't really been Zegras leading the way. You know, a lot of nights, for instance, the Vegas night, right? That was all Konechny. That was the Konechny show that night. Colorado, Owen Tippett was the big dog that night. You know, it hasn't really been Zegras' show, and maybe they have to rework some stuff. Maybe some time away from Christian Dvorak would be good for him. I think that combinations work great this season. I mean, Zegras basically got Dvorak a 5-year contract extension. So it was working really well, but it might be time to mix things up. It might be time. It's a shame that Rick Tocchet can't trust multiple offensively creative people to be together at the same time for extended periods, because like I would love to see him more often with Owen Tippett, with Matvei Michkov, with even like Bobby Brink or somebody. You know, let's truly, if you're going to mix some things up, really mix some things up. If you want to get nuts, let's get nuts.
No, that's I was talking last game, like find a way to get Michkov and Barkey time. I know like the the Coots Tippett Barkey line has been good by the advanced numbers, and obviously Tippett went nuts last game. Like, oh yeah, we're not going to break that up. And I do think Kate's Michkov Brink has been pretty good, and tonight, especially in the first period, I really liked what I saw out of them. But get a Zegras Barkey Michkov line out there. Like, I realize you don't want to mess with chemistry, but also lines get mixed up so much that a couple of one or two shifts a period rather than putting the Lane Peterson line out there isn't going to kill any of these guys who are the oldest one is Trevor Zegras at not yet 25, I think. Like, maybe just get them a couple extra shifts, see if they can an offensive zone face off out of a break or something. But yeah, that's Z hasn't been awesome lately, but
I wonder,
his first half was so good. It's hard to be like, oh, they need more. They do.
yeah.
But his center's also Christian Dvorak, career high 38 points.
Well, and I wonder if that's a factor there where teams are honing in on him, much like they have been for Michkov. Like Michkov, his biggest problem besides, the out of shape stuff is just not having a lot of room to work, where in last season, people didn't know what he was. They kind of underestimated him, and they let him cook, and it was a mistake. He torched them a lot when they let him cook. And Zegras, I think people they had the reputation, right? He had a couple down years, like, all right, whatever. And then he really showed us what he had. And, I'm not quite sure, but if you even just look at his shots over the past few games, Vegas, no shots. Utah, 2 shots. Colorado, 1 shot. Tonight, 1 shot. So he's not getting a lot of shots on goal, especially since in that stretch there. Like in the Rangers game, he had 3, Pittsburgh 2, Buffalo, he had 7. He had a ton in Buffalo, but the past few games, he really has just not had the same impact. He's not getting a lot of shots. I'm not sure what you got to do, but I wouldn't mind seeing a mix-up, especially like you had 2 really good games, really just 1 really good game, because they were good in Vegas, but if Travis Konechny doesn't put the team on his back and score 2 goals, that's a very different week we're talking about there.
Yeah, the Vegas game is like Airson and Konechny said enough is enough, and it was the game they needed to have. Like, it didn't matter what it looked like. They just had to stop the bleeding, and they did against a really good team. And Utah, for most of the first 52 minutes, they played well, but then they lose in overtime despite having a 3-0 and 4-2 lead. So can you say it was good when they lose in the worst? But they get a point, and Colorado, a legitimately very good game. And now it's all right. Well, we need some stuff to start coming around, and Z is a big part of that. All right. On the other side, we're going to listen. We're going to read all your super chats. We are going to look at the standings as well, but we got to take our final break. Everybody's got their favorite hard tea. It is the cool thing right now. But have you ever turned the can around to read what's inside? Well, most of the time you can't, because the others won't tell you what their tea is made of. And while others hide what's inside, Crooked Tea brags about what they've got, because Crooked Tea brews real USDA organic tea for real flavor with 0 sugar. There's no fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. So next time you're at the store, flip that can. And if you can't find the ingredients, just put it back on the shelf, and then grab a Crooked Tea, 0 sugar, real tea, and fully transparent. Philly recognizes real. Don't drink that fake stuff. I just served a bunch of these at a holiday party I had. They were a huge hit. People love them. They come in a bunch of flavors. I'm partial to the raspberry. Check out what suits you best and crack one open. You know what you're getting, because it's all on the can. Why drink the fake stuff? Crooked Tea. The only thing better is a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find a store near you. Go Birds, and let's go Flyers. All right, everybody. It's almost the new year, which probably means you have big goals. But if you're like me, you've probably got no time to cook. Well, that's why Factor's been huge, because Factor makes it easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs, so you can eat well without the shopping or cooking. And in every Factor meal, you're looking at quality functional ingredients, including lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats. There's no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. And you get great variety, 100 rotating meals every week. It's always fresh, never frozen, ready in about 2 minutes, no prep, and no stress. I use this, and you should too. Head to factormeals.com/PHLY50 off and use code PHLY50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer only valid for new customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. All right, it's almost time for your Super Chats, but first, let's take a quick look at the standings. If the Flyers had won tonight, they would have been in a virtual tie for third in the Metropolitan Division with those Islanders. Instead, man, it's funny, like, you look at this and it's, hey, if I were to tell you they'd be a point up on the Devils, same points total as in 2 fewer games than the Caps, you'd be like, oh, probably a pretty good season. And I think they're tied with or a point up on the Leafs in the East overall. But you look at how this has transpired. Again, not a crushing game, but you went from a point or two back to now you're a handful of games behind the Islanders for that third spot in the Metropolitan Division.
It hurts a lot to lose this game because these standings are insanely tight, and they're going to be insanely tight down the wire. I can't believe Pittsburgh has 63 points. I don't understand how that team of old men is doing what they're doing, but hockey doesn't make any sense to me at all. It just has never made sense. This is this week is entirely huge for this team because next up is Columbus, and Columbus has won their last 2. Columbus is not terribly far behind the Flyers right there. The Flyers have 57 points. Columbus has 55 points. Columbus, as I mentioned, won 2 in a row. They're 6-4-0 in their last 10. So, it's very easily you could see the Flyers in second to last in this division after being in third for a lot of the season, which that sucks. It sucks. Like, this has been a fun season up to this point. And then they hit the bumps in the road the past few weeks, and all of a sudden you're looking at a team that could just be near the bottom of the standings. So I would really like to win this Columbus game and the Boston game, but that's a tough back-to-back road stretch.
It absolutely is. You look at what Boston has done this year; they've exceeded expectations. It is funny though, like, okay, they're 2 points behind Florida. They're tied with Toronto. If I would have told you that in the beginning of the season, you'd be like, great, man. So they're like, they're top 3 in the division. No, they're actually not in a wild card right now. The East is very weird, and every team's gone through bad stretches, but it just felt like after that road trip, okay, now rebuild the momentum, and they didn't tonight. But hey, like Charlie said, that's the great thing about an 82-game season. We will see you on Wednesday. But before we wrap up, we gotta read your super chats, so let's get to that. First one is from Adam S., and I have to blow up my screen so I can read this, so give me 1 second. There we go. Adam S. says, Coots is dragging this whole team down. We can't have a captain who is incapable of setting the tone with his play and doesn't produce. It would be worth it to buy him out just to clear the roster spot.
It's a nasty buyout. It's a nasty buyout. You don't want it.
It is. I have a way it works, and I'm not going to share it until we're a little closer to, like, that part of the season.
You're not sharing it until you get Danny Briere's ear, and you're like, hear me out.
Hear me out. It's like, there's a way to make it work in terms of how you look at this roster and what they're built like next season, but most teams wouldn't be willing to just do that. I think it's at least another year of Coots before you think about it. He is disappointing right now. I know what the expected goals numbers are. I know what the advanced the play driving numbers are. I will say, when we're talking expected goals for a guy who hasn't scored in like 25 games, I have to lower my expectation of his ability to create a goal because he's produced like 9 points in the last like 25 games or something.
It absolutely sucks. It does suck. And it also sucks to see a guy who used to be the team MVP, used to be one of the best two-way forwards in the game, play like he does now. It absolutely sucks. That I'm looking right now.
So slow.
He's so slow. He's never been fast, but now he's downright slow. I'm looking at Puckpedia right now. I'm looking at the buyout calculator.
If it's like 6-7. Yeah.
Yep. If you buy Couturier out prior to the 26-27 season, it's a 6.5 mil cap hit for 26-27. 6.7 for 27-28, 28-29, and 29-30. And then you still got to pay
It's
him
like half a mil for
$520K
4 years.
for like 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, who cares about the half a mil? But that 6-7 cap hit, especially if you're trying to lure free agents in, if you're trying to, let's say Matvei Michkov really has a bounce back year next year and they have to negotiate a big contract. If you want to sign Trevor Zegras long term, you got to have some cap space for these guys. And if you have 6.7 million in dead space, especially for a team that they're not winning the cup this year. They're not winning next year. So I'm eating that contract for at least another year. It's a little bit more manageable if you do 27-28. You got to deal with a 6.7 mil cap hit for 27-28, 28-29, and 29-30, and then it's half a mil for the rest of the time after that. But that's a little bit more manageable. So if you're going to do it, you got to at least wait another year.
He made a play tonight at the blue line. I think it was on the PK, where he gets a nice stick check on the point man. Puck comes out to the neutral zone, and it's like, yeah, go! And then you realize it's him. It's like he's never getting there. Like, that's just who he is now.
I would very much like if they could rest him a little bit more.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of unheard of in hockey.
Just never going to happen in hockey.
Especially
the captain.
If you could rest him a little bit more, it would make such a difference. It's never going to happen, sadly.
All right, let's get to the next super chat here. Adam S. says, has this team won more than 3 consecutive games? Probably not. I would doubt it.
That's a tough one on the spot, but I'm going to take a quick look, but yeah, I'm not sure that they have. It's certainly, it's a roller coaster, right? Like this team is infuriating because they will go on these nice little stretches and then just be horrific for a while. Yes, they won against the Florida Panthers. This is in November. Then the New York Islanders, then the New Jersey Devils at the end of November. So that was 3 consecutive games. More than 3? I don't know, actually. I don't think there's been more than 3, but there's been 3.
I don't think they've had more than a 3-game winning streak this year. All right, next one is David Shub. You already looked like you worked at a pizza shop. God dang, now you really do. You shaved your head for this team. They don't deserve you, Bill. Listen, it's this is what being a ridiculous person is. You do ridiculous stuff. This is what love is, man. You do stuff you can't explain, even if it's maybe not the brightest.
Listen, Bill's an entertainer first and foremost, and we're all benefiting from it.
All right, thank you, David.
Thank you for your dedication to the craft, my friend.
I got it. We need the content.
Here's the thing, your hats are fitting better. Your hats are fitting a little easier.
From Dylan Forster. I have to readjust my hat. This is a snapback. I needed 2 extra things.
Your fitteds
I bought a
are
new
done
Phillies
for.
hat over the weekend, a size up, and now it's gigantic on my head. It's so funny.
Your fitteds never fit right after a big haircut. No.
Dylan Forster. The team protects Ayerson as much as possible in Colorado and goes, hey, let's give the Islanders presents and expect him to stop all of them. What New York Islanders did today for Sorokin is how we should defend him. Yeah, the Islanders weren't good, but they also did not allow the Flyers, into the slot at all. At least they did that part well, and it's not like the Flyers gave up a ton of grade A's, but, that shorty, come on, man. You get beat to the puck. 2 guys there. It's Zizekas who gets there. Pajot's by himself. The turnover that lets Tony D have all day to tee up that one-timer. You just could have played a little better, and that's why the Islanders won.
They could have played better. Well, they obviously played like garbage. They were terrible.
Yeah.
But Ayreson's got to stop a couple of those. I'm done making excuses for the guy.
Yeah, Ayerson is what he is. If he's a backup, that's it,
I don't even know if he's that, though.
Thank you, Dylan.
You got to make some of those saves.
That's the ceiling at this point. Maybe
I know
he'll
it's
be a decent enough.
I don't feel confident in it. I'm not. I'm off. The wagon's off the road again, as far as I'm concerned.
During the Olympic break, extraction mission for Zavragan.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you, Dylan. The next one. Oh, we're going to overtime. Head to allphly.com to continue watching. All right, the next one is David again. Sometimes I wonder why I love the Flyers and uninspiring casual roster I wish was 75% different. Still, thanks, Dad, for making me a Flyers fan in 1995. Listen, again, I will, once we get to the point of the season where we're talking a little more about roster management and potential off-season changes, I have a world in which they can make it with mostly these guys. There just have to be a couple tweaks. And then obviously, like, the two big holes need addressing. A top 4, if not number 1 defenseman, and a number 1 center.
Oh, those are your two big holes? Mine's goalie and center.
Those things still need addressing.
Counts, but
yeah.
But I have a couple of Vladar worries now that he got hurt as soon as he reached his career high for games. So
I think Vladar in the short term is going to be acceptable. Like, I don't expect him to be a 9-10, 9-15 goalie if he stays here a little while, but I think he could be acceptable. And then as a vet who hangs around when it's Bjarnason or Zavragin or even Kolosov, whoever the hell, maybe they're a tandem. I think it's...
They may say that you're a dreamer, Bill, but you might be the only one.
I might be. I just have to throw him in there. You know, it's a possibility, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's low end.
Listen, I know it sucks right now, but I very much am excited for the Porter Martone era. Once we have Martone, Michkov, Tyson Forrester back, Trevor Zegras, you're cooking with some real stuff there. If you can add a center to that mix, you got something.
All right. Thank you, David. Next one is from Thomas Brown. Love your coverage, 3 a.m. in Wales. I love hearing from everybody, but the overseas viewers and listeners, it's just so cool.
It's the best.
It's absolutely awesome. Thank you, Thomas. Very much appreciated. All right, David again. Should Adam S. and I start a Flyers podcast? I mean, you basically have in the super chats.
I mean, if you want to, by all means, like, I'm not discouraging anybody from it.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that it leads to a lifetime of overanalyzing this team and having to talk about them all the time.
Yeah.
It's to the point where you're sick of it. No, I'm kidding. I'm never sick of it. I love this.
No, it is a sickness, but the world probably needs more Flyers podcasts.
I'm not sick of it, but it is a sickness.
It's a sickness,
I'm down
100%.
with this sickness. Wow.
All right. Next one is JH. Cat-sized rat in my train station. Immaculate vibes.
Our friend the rat sighting. There we go.
That's outstanding.
Right.
That's now you need a dog-sized cat like they used to get at the vet. That's how you control the rats with cats.
The ones that came through John Gruden's ceiling the one time.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah. So JH, say hi to Flyperbole mascot, our friend the rat, and cheers.
Our friend the rat. All right. Next one is JH again. I even wore and got compliments on my Ersson Team Sweden jersey.
You're a true sicko, JH.
I can't even
stuff right there.
Maybe it's just because I'm done with this game. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I'm not even mad at Ersson. Like, I don't know. They got shut out. What the hell do you want him to do?
Yeah, an Ersson jersey though is sicko stuff. I love you, JH, but that's a sicko thing.
I will say, like, the international jerseys are pretty cool.
I
like
love
Sweden
international jersey.
with the crowns. That's them, right? We had that clip of my understanding of geography a couple of games ago, but I do believe that's Sweden.
You don't want to quiz me on that one. You don't want to quiz me on that one. That's no good. And I work in international logistics.
I feel you. All right. Next one is David again. Time to face facts and shake up this roster. Not even angry anymore. Like Torch said before we sold Lawton, we can't fall in love. Sell/trade now. I mean, they really haven't. They have shaken it up quite a bit. They've played like 51 games with this roster. Like, there's only so many moves you can make, and they need to start making hockey trades with these assets. You can't just subtract to subtract anymore.
The biggest stuff you got to move are guys like Couturier, who wants that contract? Who wants that contract? The thing is, nobody wants that contract.
Yeah, man, I would love to be able to move. I would love to be able to move Coots. That would be great. But like, it's not happening anytime soon.
Move Coots, and then like, I mean, you can make the case for like Konechny, but like, at the same time, like, he is a very useful player on this team who, I mean, look, it sounds good to flip over the table and start new, but like, there are a lot of good parts on this team. This season, you get lost in the weeds during the season, and they were never winning the cup this season. it's very frustrating to see a team that looked like they were going to not easily make the playoffs, but looked like they were on a good route to the playoffs, fumble the bag like this yet again. But
it's incredibly frustrating watching them every night.
It sucks. Like, you want to hit the simulate button like you're in an NHL game, because watching this stuff every night is truly, truly maddening. It is horrible. I don't like if you blow everything up now, like you're extending years. Like, I don't know if you ever start with the plan if you blow it all up now. So I don't know. Like, yeah, there's a lot of moves I'd love to make, but like,
it's just,
I don't think, and Danny Briere doesn't usually lose trades. So I don't see him making another blow up trade for the sake of blowing it up.
No, it has to be hockey trades now. You have to augment and smartly add at this point. All right. Next one is Julian Yeager. Okay, Bill, if the Flyers win these next 5 games, you need to shave your eyebrows and beard. Spoilers, you will still have your eyebrows and beard. Yeah, I'm not shaving my eyebrows. That's not going to happen.
No, that's freaky. I don't want that. If I got to look at this guy without eyebrows, I might quit. That sounds horrible.
I'm not doing that.
No,
my hair is way too dark. Like, I'll look too naked. I will look like a turtle.
It reminds me of like Will Forte in The Last Man on Earth, when he's just like, he shaved like half his face, and it's like the freakiest thing you've ever seen.
Thanks, Julian. But no, I don't. I'd be shocked if they won 5 in a row going into the break.
Yeah. I mean, as he said, it's not going to happen.
No.
But like, don't tempt fate.
I'm not making any more declarations until at least after the Olympics.
No.
All right. Do we have any more? We do. Adam S. At a minimum, the C should be stripped.
No. I don't think
that's what you want.
The problem.
The guys wouldn't be happy with that. Like, that wouldn't help anybody do anything.
And I can tell
that
you,
would just make you feel good for 35 seconds.
As a traumatized 90s Flyers fan, one of the worst moments of my Flyers fan career, of being a Flyers fan, was watching them strip that C of Lindros and then live on television sew the C onto Eric Desjardins' jersey.
So funny.
It was so, like, it's funny in retrospect. At the time, I'm like, this is horrible. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen. It sucks. It's demoralizing for the guys in the room. The captaincy's not the problem. Is the fact that he's busted and old the problem? Sure. But like, it's one of those things, like, he wasn't given the captaincy because he's the best player on the team, because he's the tone set. Like, there's other leaders. Like, we saw Travis Konechny do the tone setting in the Golden Knights game last week, where he actually set the tone and came out. Stripping the C is not a solution here. Clearly there's a problem with this contract and moving on from this player, but like, it's not going to happen this season. It's just not going to.
No, that's something that would make a portion of the fan base happy for 20 minutes. Like, it would do nothing for the team.
But it would piss off the guys in the room.
Yeah. All right. My face ain't fit for prime time. No Flyers pod. All right, Adam.
Podcast is supposed to be an audio medium, my friend. I got
this whole video craze is nuts to me.
Yeah, it's nuts to me. We're audio guys.
That appears to be it. So we are out of super chats, which means we are fresh out of time here on PHLY Flyers postgame, presented by Bet365. JH gets in. Says, Coots for McNuggets straight up. Stan can't say no. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Three more just came in. What's the matter with you people?
Guys, go to bed.
It's a terrible game.
And he must mean literal McNuggets, because that's the only way that works.
Let's see here. From David, Flyers make the offs. What else would you shave? Nothing.
No. If they win the cup, I'll shave my beard.
Yeah. All right. JH, C for C. It's an even trade. Captain for captain. Sure.
Captain Morgan?
Yeah, I would. Oh, man, Captain Morgan. I haven't had captain in a while. It's been a while.
Let's go with captain.
Sounds pretty good right now.
That sounds good.
All right. And I think that's it. Okay, that's it. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on the PHLY Sports YouTube page. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers, and follow the podcast wherever you get those as well. Make sure you listen to Flyperbole over at BSH. They all do a great job.
New one maybe this week. We'll see.
That's what you want to do. Talk more about the Flyers.
I'm doing this so much stuff.
It's crazy. All right. Thank you all. That is it. I am Bill Matz. That is Steve Jaco. As always, great work by Brenna. Be excellent to each other.